On the morning of June 30th, 1908, deep in the remote forests of Siberia, something extraordinary happened. At around 7:17 a.m., the sky lit up with a brilliant fireball. Witnesses reported a streak of blinding light racing across the heavens, followed by a deafening explosion that shook the earth. In a single moment, a blast flattened more than 800 square miles of forest. Trees snapped like matchsticks, animals incinerated, and shockwaves rippled across continents. Yet, to this day, no crater has ever been found. This is the mystery of the Tunguska Event, the largest explosion in recorded human history that scientists are still struggling to fully explain. The people who lived in the region were mostly indigenous Evenki hunters and small Russian settlers. Their accounts are terrifying. Some described seeing a column of blue-white light, brighter than the sun, moving across the sky. A farmer named Semyon Semenov recalled that the heat was so intense he thought his shirt was on fire. Others reported a series of thunderous booms, like artillery fire from the heavens. Herds of reindeer were killed instantly, and shockwaves knocked people off their feet, even hundreds of kilometers away. Windows shattered in villages across Siberia. The blast was so powerful, seismographs thousands of miles away in Britain and the United States recorded the tremors. But perhaps most unsettling of all, despite the unimaginable force, no one ever discovered a traditional impact crater. Instead, what remained was a strange, eerie scene, trees lying in radial patterns, all pointing away from a central zone of destruction. At the epicenter, the few standing trees had been stripped of their branches and bark, left as ghostly blackened poles. It was as if a giant hand had pressed down from the sky, flattening the earth, and then vanished without a trace. The first scientific expedition to study Tunguska didn't arrive until 1927, nearly 20 years after the event. Led by Russian scientist Leonid Kulik, the team trekked into the swampy, mosquito-infested wilderness. What they found stunned them. For miles in every direction, trees lay toppled in perfect alignment, all blown outward from a single point. Kulik expected to find a massive crater, evidence of a meteorite strike, but none existed. Instead, he found shallow swamps and scorched earth. Local Evenki people told him the land was cursed, a place where the god Ogdi had unleashed his fiery wrath. So what could have caused this mysterious blast? The most widely accepted theory is that a space object, perhaps a stony asteroid about 150 feet across, entered Earth's atmosphere at incredible speed. Rather than striking the ground, it exploded in mid-air, about 5 to 10 kilometers above the surface. The force of the airburst was equivalent to between 10 and 15 megatons of TNT, roughly 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Such an explosion would explain why there was no crater, only a flattened forest beneath the shockwave. But while the airburst theory makes sense, other mysteries linger. Scientists who returned decades later discovered unusual patterns in the soil, traces of rare minerals, and strange genetic mutations in plants near the site. Some theories suggest the object might not have been a typical asteroid at all. Perhaps it was a fragment of a comet, made mostly of ice, that vaporized before hitting the ground. Others have gone further, proposing more outlandish explanations. A small black hole passing through Earth, a clump of antimatter annihilating in the atmosphere, even the crash of an alien spacecraft. While mainstream science dismisses these exotic ideas, the sheer scale and strangeness of Tunguska continues to fuel speculation. The global effects of the explosion were equally mysterious. For nights afterward, people as far away as London reported glowing skies so bright they could read newspapers outdoors at midnight. Scientists believe this was caused by fine particles thrown high into the atmosphere, scattering sunlight across the globe. It was an eerie reminder that an event in one of Earth's most remote corners could still touch the lives of people thousands of miles away. For modern scientists, Tunguska is more than just a historical curiosity. It is a warning. If the asteroid had exploded over a major city instead of the Siberian wilderness, millions would have died instantly. Imagine Moscow, New York, or Beijing wiped off the map in seconds. Tunguska shows us just how vulnerable our civilization is to cosmic impacts. And it wasn't the last close call. In 2013, over a century after Tunguska, a smaller asteroid exploded in the atmosphere above Chelyabinsk, Russia. The shockwave shattered windows, injured over 1,000 people, and served as a chilling reminder that Earth is still in the cosmic firing line. Today, scientists around the world are working on asteroid detection and deflection technologies. Space agencies track thousands of near-Earth objects, mapping their trajectories, calculating risks, and developing strategies for planetary defense. But despite our advances, we remain a small planet orbiting in a vast, unpredictable universe. Tunguska stands as both a scientific mystery and a stark warning. If it happened once, it can happen again. The Tunguska Event of 1908 remains one of history's most extraordinary puzzles. An explosion so massive it leveled a forest, yet left no crater. A blast so bright it illuminated skies on the other side of the world. A disaster so powerful it still shapes our fears of the cosmos. Over 100 years later, the forest has regrown, but the questions linger. Was it a comet, an asteroid, or something far stranger? Perhaps one day we will know for certain. But until then, Tunguska reminds us of a sobering truth. The universe is not always a silent place. Sometimes, without warning, the sky itself can fall.